head, and there he goes. Abyss gonna clean him up.
Olaf goes down. Everyone's just gonna line up here for Lazzy. He's gonna find himself the Quadra. Give it to him. Pentakill.
Priestley with the quad feet.
Gets the ace. Available just spin to win all over.
That game was insane.
Hello everybody and welcome to St. Clair Saints League of Legends, the final game of the NECC regular season. St. Clair playing against Purdue University. St. Clair's record stands at 5-1 while Purdue is at 2-3. So Purdue needing a victory to get themselves into the playoffs here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this matchup. We're doing really well in the league. I think we're ranked second so far. So, we're looking to close it out strong. So far we have a great record. So let's see how we do against them.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm John Billbanks, joined today by Bernard, Ranix, Maffey. Maffey?
Yeah, Maffey. It's pronounced.
Maffey,
yeah,
perfect.
Some people say Maffey, but yeah, you got it.
Maffey. So interesting. Your first time league casting here for St. Clair, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a filthy league casual, but I do really enjoy playing the game, watching the game, and especially like just watching the team kind of do what they do at a competitive level. It's been really exciting.
I love League of Legends. Is some crazy stuff. It's really cool to watch.
So good, yeah.
But getting back to the game specifically, St. Clair obviously a 5-1 in a pretty good spot. Have the playoffs locked in. Just going to be about seeding. There is one team above them, so if the team above them lose, I forget who exactly it is, but if they lose, they can take over first seed possibly. So that's something that at least St. Clair is trying to fight for. Yeah. For Purdue, obviously they're trying to get into playoffs. They are 2-3, so they can lock themselves a playoff spot if they end up winning this game. So both teams a lot on the line, and we aren't going to have Ricky again today. He is out with illness, so unfortunately, Ricky trying to get better sometime soon, hopefully, with him. But we are going to have FaZe in again. And I definitely think FaZe last game was pretty... I mean, he was not necessarily the star of the team, but he looked really, really good. And I definitely don't think the reason they ended up going down there was because of him at all. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the match they had earlier in the week, he brought some interesting picks. Like, he brought the Cassio to top. And he brought a Kennen too, which is a great pick in like a team, for team fights. He pops seal. So he has some good mileage there. And I don't think, like I said, for lack of a better phrase, it felt like bot diff. There was just some kind of team comp issues. We didn't have engage. We had I think it was Karma and MF. It just something about it just wasn't working out. So I'd like to see if they figured out something since then. Yeah, I think really the solution there is just ban Yuumi and not give it away on blue side, because that really just didn't... I feel like that was more of anything the reason they ended up losing that game, just because that Yuumi was able to roam, picked up the Dark Shield early, got the Hecarim ahead, and that was the difference maker in that game. And I think Fresh, again, 3 deaths at 5 minutes there, just really made it a big deficit in the ball lane, and I think he's going to be feeling a lot better. It isn't playoffs yet for NECC. It's still regular season, so they have a little bit of leeway here. But definitely ramping up into the playoffs for NECC. That's when you kind of gotta clean everything up, because this is their last chance, right? They're done for CLOL. They're done for NACE Star League. This is their last league that they're participating in. So I want to see them do well. I want to see them push forward and go far into the NACE playoff or into the NECC playoffs. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I almost feel like some of those past games are like experimentation in a way. Like I wanted to kind of solidify on a strategy that works for them. And things like the Yuumi pick that you mentioned is just, you can't let those things slide. You have to be so tight on the in terms of the comp. I'm seeing Yuumi here. Yeah, so St. Clair is going to pick up Yuumi first. There we go. They're going to learn. They learn from their mistakes in the last time around, so they will end up getting that Yuumi first pick. Bans coming through actually very interesting here. So we get a Talon jungle ban was the first one from St. Clair. They also have Camille and Victor, while on Purdue side they have the Yone, the Lucian, and the Galio. So I definitely think an interesting Galio ban. Haven't really seen a lot of Zephyrat Galio. Zephyrat's playing in this game production? It is Zephyrat? Yeah, I believe he is playing mid. That Yone ban I think makes sense. What I'm more confused about is the Lucian ban. Like, I know he's, I see him picked a little bit more these days, but he's like an aggressive ADC, kind of lacks range. Is that like a smart ban for them? It is, because Lucian Nami right now is still one of the top tier ADC pairing or ADC support pairings. So the fact that you're taking Lucian off the table is very helpful, because it means you can't first pick that. So we would most likely seen a Lucian or a Yuumi pick and then a Lucian Nami in the second round. Instead, we're going to see something else, because Lucian Nami is very, very strong. I mean, normally you see it banned on red side, actually, because if you don't ban the Yuumi, you have to take that on the blue side, or else you're going to risk throwing it over to the other team. So we are going to get the Graves Ezreal lock in here, and we have the Zyra Rakan pairing. We haven't really seen too much of it this season. Zaya did get a small buff a couple patches ago, but it wasn't really too helpful. Her and Rakan still definitely not. I mean, they're always going to be a good duo for the bot lane. They're always going to be a pretty decent carry later on in the game, but isn't necessarily as strong as something like the Lucian Nami or the Misfortune Amumu. But I mean, still very viable. And Volibear pick can be flexed. We've seen it in the jungle and we've seen it in top. So Purdue, a little bit of flexibility here going to the second draft phase.
Yeah, Volibear. Well, I want to talk about Graves first. Actually, I think that's a really good pick.
Yeah.
Graves has been tearing up the Rift the last few months. I've seen him in top. I've seen him mid. I've seen him jungle. In the hands of an expert, you're going to be invading really well. You're going to get like early skirmishing. Like he's just strong, I feel like, at all stages of the game. And then Volibear is, our favorite beefy boy, just running around, stunning you, tower diving you. Like there's nothing you can do. We saw, I think, our McMaster use him to great effect in our last match. So I want to see if we can handle him a bit better this time, because I think, in one of the games he was like 9-1, and it was just...
He was terrifying.
We were just running away from him the whole game, so...
It was terrifying.
Yeah, let's see,
And Graves, too, did get nerfed in the last couple patches. He got armor taken off his E, and he got a small cooldown increase onto that as well. So he is nerfed, but I mean, you still think he's a very strong flex pick because you can put him mid jungle and possibly, or top jungle and possibly mid. So... I mean, he is a very good flexible choice for St. Clair to try and put him maybe in the hands of FaZe, maybe in the hands of EHUG, or maybe in the hands of Zephyros. But interesting to me right now, we haven't seen a Viego pick yet. So, I mean, to me, I think that is definitely a very, very high priority choice
no-brainer,
here.
yeah. I feel like they got
I'm kind of surprised. I mean, St. Clair is not going to have this first rotation. They are going to have to wait. So, I mean, Volibear already locked in. You could put the Volibear in top and put Viego in jungle. But again, a lot of flexibility still here, and we see a lot of mid lane bans here actually in phase 2.
Yeah, they're scared, man. There's Zoe, Yone, Syndra. These are all, Victor. That's a good point. All of these, actually, like the large majority of them. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and the Zac ban as well. I mean, I don't know about the Zac ban. I think we haven't seen EHUG play any tank jungler, so I think maybe that's just something that's been brought up. I mean, right now in the meta, it's okay. It's not exactly super strong. Maybe he's been playing it a lot recently, and they looked up his op.gg and they're kind of scared of it. So that might be it. But that's gonna be a Corki locked in here. You. That is me. I'm a Corki one trick. For anyone who didn't know, he is my favorite champion. But yeah, it is gonna be a Corki lock in here. Hasn't been necessarily as prominent in meta as of late. Still, I mean, good scaling, good poke damage, and pretty decent burst. So is always going to be a pretty well-rounded champion and can fit into a lot of team comps here. But right now, I definitely see a lot of good engage from the side of Purdue. You have the Volibear and you have the Rakan. The problem is going to be you're missing this engage. That's going to be a Vi. So EHUG's Vi looks so good on Tuesday, and I can't wait to see it again here. And it does mean the Graves is going to go top, so that's a very interesting choice. But again, I think the Vi looks so good for EHUG. I'm not surprised to see it again.
It did wonders for them, for the team, the last time they played. The point and click ult to lock down a high value target is just so. This is look at this Cassiopeia pick coming through. This is a very similar comp we've seen them play with the Vi and Cassio. So I'm wondering, do you think it's going to be? I mean, Graves could go mid or top. Cassio could go mid or top. So I'm wondering how And one of the issues is too we don't have a tank this game around, so I'm wondering how that's gonna go.
Well, I mean, we didn't have a tank the first game around when we played against McMaster, and we won that one. So
there's a DC in that game.
Yeah, it's true. Zoe definitely had her struggles in mid there. We are gonna have a Graves instead of a Yone this time to get banned out, so a little bit of different team comp. But I mean, for me, I think this team could do really good. Graves into Corki in mid lane is an interesting matchup. Corki's poke actually doesn't come online until he gets that level 6 when he gets those missiles. So Graves actually can shove him out pretty hard early in the game. And even in those burst battles, the problem is you have the Vi, right? So Graves has his W to apply the slow and your smoke screen. So you have to W out or else you're going to risk dying. But as soon as you use that W, Vi presses R on you and you either flash or you go down. Right. So I think very good choice here. Corki into the Graves, not exactly a great matchup. So I think St. Clair could be favored here in the mid yet again, and I think they are drafting for Zephyros and EHUG, and I think Zephyros and EHUG have been the best players for St. Clair over the last couple of weeks, so not too surprising, but I mean, still, this matchup, Corki into Graves, definitely Graves favored for me.
What do you think about the carry potential? I think Cassiopeia scales quite well, and I know Ez does as well. I mean, she's ADC obviously, but what are you looking at the comps like?
I think for me, the problem again you're talking about, there's not really a tank, right? Because we don't see this Vi going tank. We see going the Yumus and then the Sunder. So for me, early on in the game, there's going to be a lot of pressure being put on by St. Clair, especially with Grave shoving out the lane and Casio shoving out the lane top against the volley bear. But later on in the game, if they start ramping up, this Corky Poke is really going to start hurting. You have no one to tank it, and the Xayah especially is going to be able to do a lot of damage in fights. So I think St. Clair definitely looking rough later on in the game, but early on in the game, early to mid, I think they're going to have full control and they're going to be able to do what they want. So their goal is get ahead early, try and convert that into objectives and turrets, and then try and win this before we hit that 30-minute, 35-minute mark. Because if we get that far, I don't really think St. Clair has a chance.
Yeah, they can't let it drag out. What was the bot lane pick for Purdue? I missed the
Xayah Rakan.
Xayah Rakan. So yeah, like you mentioned this to me actually, before the broadcast even began, about a different game where it's like when you have a late game situation where the ADC is hitting like a truck and you have nothing to stand between that damage and your carries, like what are you gonna do? So if we make it past the 30-minute mark and Xayah's throwing bombs basically, what's kind of like anybody that gets touched is gonna get chunked.
And the problem is too, right? As you look further on, the Vi with the ultimate is gonna be very effective against the Corky. But against the Xayah can cancel it by pressing the R button, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is, Vi is committed to that Xayah with the R. So if you press R on the Xayah, she ultimates, you're just stuck in the middle of 4 people, and
with no escape. Yeah,
and you're an assassin, so you're just done there. So I think a really smart pick, or a really smart pick here with the Xayah Rakan, specifically into the Vi. I mean, it was picked into the Xayah Rakan. So I think again, it is going to be so much focus on this mid lane, on Zephyros getting ahead. Oh, never mind.
Really
Oh yeah, so they're gonna put Casio in the mid, and they're gonna put FaZe with the Graves top into the Irelia.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, so Cass is going mid, right?
Yeah, so Cass is going mid into the Corky, and I mean that matchup is really just 2 scaling mid laners, so there's not probably going to be too much action around that.
But that's good though. Like the fact that it's less volatile, I think gives us a chance to maybe like eke out advantages in other parts of the map without worrying about mid so much.
And the thing is too, Cassiopeia's ground is going to be very effective against this team because they have the Irelia, they have Corky, and they have Volley Bear, and they have Rakan, who all have dashes. So the ground from Casio is going to be super, super effective against this team, and especially in the mid lane against a Corky, because if she can throw down a ground and Vi can hit the R, he can't flash out, he can't W out, so he's going to be just kind of a sitting duck there in mid, and they'll be able to take him down. So I think this is going to be a really, really interesting game, a very volatile game, and both teams are going to be coming out of the gate swinging.
The skill you're mentioning with Cassiopeia, I'm not too familiar with it. It's the
area of effect ground. She puts like a big poison kind of a half circle around herself in front of her, so you're grounded there, so you can't dash if you're in that spot.
Dash.
So something like you can't flash out of it, you can't
like
W.
Irelia can't Q, Corky can't.
Exactly.
Dash. Wow, yeah, that's a big deal. Okay.
So that's why the Casio pick is, I think, really, really good into this team, because Irelia's whole point is she wants to get her stacks off on the minions and then get into the backline. But if you throw down that ground, she's not going to be able to get that dash and get onto you, and that's where the majority of her damage lies, is being able to actually get on top of you and start auto-attacking with that passive active.
Yeah, I mean, her value, like a lot of it is just her mobility. You're telling me like there's a skill that shuts that down even temporarily. I mean, good luck.
Super effective against that. And even something like the Rakan, when he wants to go for that engage, he wants to have that W dash forward for the knock-up. That ground is going to stop him from doing that. So a lot of these initial engages, if Zephyros can hit these grounds, it can save a lot of members from the side of St. Clair. And you have the Volley Bear, who has that really committed CC. You have the Rakan, who wants to pop the ult, and you have the Irelia, who wants to press the R, dash into the backline. So a lot of that ground is going to be able to stop a lot of what they want to do. So I definitely think pretty good draft here from both sides. I think looking later on in the game, I was saying team fighting definitely on the side of Purdue. I think later on in this game, you have a Corky that can hit you from long range. You have a Xayah that can hit you from long range that can have you 4 or 5 items. I think is going to be stronger. But I mean, I think both teams have their win conditions. St. Clair win early, try and get objectives and transfer that into the mid game, and late game team fighting. That's definitely going to go in Purdue's favor.
Yeah, I mean, the more we talk about it, the more faith I think I have in the Saints roster. But I can't imagine a 5v5 team fight going in our favor like as the game drags on. So I'm with you on that. One thing I'm actually looking forward to, and this is no shade to Fresh, but we just saw those early deaths, the roaming, like why are you here moments, and I feel like as the way Yuumi works is that stuff is just not going to happen because you're attached to somebody now. So like all around, we have like a safer comp, ranged, less liabilities. So I feel like that is going to work in our favor.
Yeah, and I think one thing too to remember is that because you have a Yumi, it doesn't provide that roaming ability that a lot of other supports would, right? Normally we
Yeah,
see
true.
Fresh pushing up, getting an early shove, and then moving out towards mid lane, towards top lane, helping out the jungler for maybe a gank or for a roam. And because you're on the Yumi, you have to stay with the Ezreal in bot lane. You have to heal him up, make sure he stays okay in lane, and it's going to give the Rakan an avenue to try and roam himself. So I think, despite the early game advantage that the Graves is going to provide you, I don't know if they'll be able to leverage that into anything meaningful, just because you have the Yumi stuck in the bot lane, you have the Rakan that has a roaming potential, and he's going to be on the map elsewhere where you are just kind of stuck in bot lane as an Ezreal Yumi.
That's true, actually. And when we talk about, win cons, if the Saints win con is an early finish, not having that roaming ability is going to make it tougher, right? Because that's, you're not looking to stay in lane and power farm, because that's not going to work for you guys. So, that's going to be interesting to see how they kind of navigate that.
And I mean, later on in the game, I think, yes, the Corki has a decent amount of poke, but you have a Yumi, and Yumi's always going to be able to heal you up, especially again later on in the game. Those heals are going to be very, very meaningful. They're going to be able to help you a lot. And I think the one thing is, too, that I didn't really think about is combining this Vi with the Yumi does mean it will provide an unstoppable R. Even if she goes for someone in the front line, it means that you can activate that ultimate on Yumi as well, and there's no way to stop this ult from going forward because you're in the unstoppable vial, right? So it gives you kind of that free pass to get into a good place in the team fight where you can activate the Yumi R and it can't be stopped, it can't be channeled because the Vi is unstoppable. So I think that's another avenue for her to get in. Obviously, it is very risky just because if Vi goes down, she is very squishy, and if she gets taken down, Yumi's going down with her, right? So I think that is the risk that you're taking, but it could be very effective looking at team fights going forward.
Is the prevailing wisdom for the Yumi to just, be on their ADC up to a certain point and then always detach and go with the jungler? Because I didn't even, we talk about Yumi and Heck, but I didn't even think about Yumi and Vi, but that makes total sense to me.
It depends what the play style is, right? Because if you have the Ezreal bot lane, Ezreal can play very, very safe. So if you feel like there's someone getting ahead, like for example, we saw a couple games ago that Ehug was 3-0 on the Vi to start off the game. That's when you're looking for maybe the Yumi to start attaching more to the Vi and leave the Ezreal to just solo in the bot lane, just as long as he can stay alive. He is pretty safe. He is Ezreal, so he can stay pretty safe. So I think moving on, it could be something that goes on a Vi, but I think we're looking for something that has more speed if you're going to be on Yumi on a jungler. It's like the Hecarim, like the Viego, who can move around the map a lot more. Vi is more, I'm going to gank here, I'm going to go farm, I'm going to gank here, I'm going to go farm. Hecarim is like, I'm running full speed across the map and I go for a gank and then I go for gank top lane, right? Because if you think about how Yumi wants to play the lane, she wants to be able to be effective in a couple ganks and then get right back to her bot lane and not lose too much XP for these ganks she's going for. So that's kind of the prevailing theory, is that you want to get a really hard ganking jungler that you can be on, and then as soon as they reset, you go back to your lane so that your ADC isn't exposed for too long. Because the problem is, if you're off for too long, they're going to 3-man in the bot lane, and then your ADC is going to go down and you're going to lose plates, right? So you always have to be aware of that as well. But that's going to be the sound of the game beginning. This is going to be the final game of the NECC regular season. St. Clair versus Purdue. Purdue fighting for their playoff lives. St. Clair trying to get that first seed, trying to get the best possible place here to finish off the regular season.
Yeah, looks like things are getting started. A little bit of, saying hi in the river area. We're just kind of posturing a little damage out here. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's okay. You will be able to heal that up by the game starting. Might even off. He's going to go for the back here, but this is going to be an invade in the jungle, actually. We're going to come down here. Decent amount of damage. Ignite going to come down. Auto going to come through. Will he go down? Flash going to come through for FaZe to claim that first blood. He's going to have to try and get out here. We'll pop the pot and be able to escape. So first blood here for the side of St. Clair. FaZe getting that one did cost his flash, but Volibear also used the flash. So early start here, and definitely a huge advantage there in the top lane for the Graves.
I was worried about the volley pick. I was scarred from our last experience versus this champ, but nothing makes me happier than seeing, somebody out of position and getting punished for it. I think you got to be so careful. The start of the game, you really want those early advantages, and the fact that Graves got that kill is also a really big deal. He's going to be able to bully that Aurelia a lot now.
Yeah, and the fact that he's able to pick up a longsword there early on is going to be so huge. And, I mean, looking further on in this game, I think definitely bot lane is where you're going to look for. If you're Ariman 1K? Ari Maniac. Ah, I gotcha. That's what the jungler's name there. Ari Maniac. We'll just say Maniac. So
Ari fanboy.
It's not too surprising. You have a lot of those. But ooh, actually engage here in the bot lane. W is gonna land on the Barlow. He's gonna have to back off here. No ignite for Fresh here, so they can't really engage this all the way if they wanted to. Ignite's being held on to by the Rakan here, but this could be dangerous because if he hits another W, I was actually going to say, so if you're Maniac here, you want to look for a gank bot lane because there's no heal now and there's no exhaust for this Ezreal. There's no Ignite as well to use that in that mid gank. So you see all 4 summoners still up for the side of Purdue, while St. Clair only has the flash on Barlow.
Yeah, you know, speaking of all that craziness that just happened, I was gonna say I love that aggressiveness by the Rakan to jump on there, and it looked like a good situation, but they found themselves overcommitted, having to walk back, and then now they have that life deficit. It's challenging now. I think they've used a pot, it looks like. So I feel like we're sitting pretty. We have relic advantage. We have the first blood advantage. So it's looking good for us.
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely Ezreal Yuumi just trying to play safe in this bot lane until those summoners come back up. That's when they can maybe try and go for an aggressive trade, something for them to push themselves forward here. But it's going to be an early gank here in mid. Zephrod has no mana. This could be really bad. Maniac not going to be able to hit the E. Will just chase down Zephrod here. And Zephrod just has no mana. Just going to keep getting auto by Corki. Will take the blast plant, keep himself alive for 1 second. Will he go for the flash over the wall? No, he's waiting for it. W going to be used here. But no, Zephrod not going to opt for it. Will end up going down. So Laplace going to claim that solo kill onto Zephrod.
Tough situation there. Revenge is a dish best served immediately. I don't know where I was going with that, but
this could be dangerous in top. They're going to continue this. Oh, W going to land on Barlow here. Barlow going to have flash still, use the E, but will stay alive. But I was going to say that could be dangerous in top just because that extra longsword is on this grave. So he is going to be doing a lot more damage, and it does mean this is going to be, a gank in bot lane. They might go for a dive here. Flash still available. Ignite just came up, though, for Fresh, so this could be dangerous. They do end up going for it. They spotted the Volley Bear. They're going to try and poke him off of this jungle at least a little bit, but he's going to respect the fact that they're taking him off there. Corki going to with the roam down as well. Nice W is going to land on Fresh here. They're going to try and back up. Corki going to come over the wall here, going to do a pretty decent amount of damage. Barlow going to be ignited, going to have to flash out from that ETB, going to come down as well. This is going to be the mid laner come down. Eog trying to kill this Volley Bear. TP going to come committed from both top laners. Zephrod going to get Yadi here. And they're going to back off. No, actually, they really want some more, but no. She's going to decide she doesn't want it and is just going to walk back in the river. St. Clair might opt to chase, though. They have the advantage here. Flashes on both mid laner and top laner. But meanwhile, Faye is just going to freeform in top lane. So in the end, just a 1 kill over for St. Clair.
A little bit messy there. That Volley Bear invade attempt just was like a magnet, attracting so much attention. And then it ends up not going in their favor. Like they're down another champ and a little bit further behind now, as the gold lead starts to kind of accumulate for the Saints.
Yeah, and actually Rakan just coming back from base. No, they're not going to go for this engage. Oh, maybe they will. There's 3 here for both sides. Yumi's going to come out with the Q. W not going to land on Zephrod, though. He's take a little auto attack damage here, nice. But you're going to get Ari in the back side of there. So it will be a nice kill on the Volley Bear, and they will be able to escape. So another kill claimed for St. Clair. Ehug with a nice little kill there onto Volley Bear and gets himself ahead furthermore in this jungle.
Interesting choices here in terms of positioning. I'm not really sure how they're getting caught out in these ways, and maybe you can provide some insight, but I just feel like, yeah, Volley Bear is just wrong place, wrong time. Well, and the Saints are quick to jump on that. Finding them, behind enemy lines and securing a kill like that is great.
And I think the key there was actually this ward in the bush right outside of blue buff there. So they saw Volley Bear took a pretty greedy path. He went to go back towards his jungle. So St. Clair realized that, and so Ehug said, okay, I'm going to take the Yuumi, we're going to go invade his jungle, we're going to force him outside of it. When they didn't find him in there, they said the only place he can be is either under turret or up the lane. So they figured out he wasn't under turret, they chased him down to the bush, and they were able to pick up that kill with the Ignite from Fresh. So it was just a greedy pathing from the Volley Bear wanting to go back to his jungle and try and farm it up. St. Clair caught it out, and they called it, and they called the gank to come through, and it ended up working out for them.
Yep, I mean, and in terms of the rest of the map as well, I think things look pretty stabilized. I mean, Graves, we're seeing advantages CS related across the board, and the Volley Bear being 2 kills behind. The Vi already has a serrated, it looks like. So, I mean, there's a lot of early game damage on the side of the Saints right now. So let's see if they can pivot that and get some advantages.
Yeah, and important to see in top lane, the anti-heal has already been built there by the Graves, so that Irelia is not going to have nearly as much effect as she would because she can't sustain this poke she's going to put down, but Ghost's going to come through, or Predator going to come through here towards mid lane. Ult can come down early from Zephrod. Rakan going to be here as well, so it is going to be Yug engaging here. Volley Bear down to very low HP, going to be forced to flash out. So there's going to be lots of damage there onto Rakan, but in the end, no one will go down. Yeah, that's going to be it. So Zephrod forced to ult. But flash is used there by the Volibear as well as, actually I thought, no, of course it didn't use flash. It was just one flash for Volibear. But again, it is just EHUG putting so much pressure on this Volibear right now. It's so hard for him to even farm up his jungle because he's just getting invaded so much from FaZe. Going to keep the harass going, and that's going to be a big wave lost in mid.
Yeah, another interesting fight. Once more, we see Volibear kind of limping away, wondering what the heck just happened. A lot of great poke. This is what you said, you know, from during Champ Select that was going to happen. Here we have another fight going on here in bot lane.
Yeah, looks like EHUG just trying to force Volibear out of his jungle as much as possible. And the problem is, right, because Volibear can't farm his jungle, he has to call the mid laner to come help him, he has to call the support to come help him. And that means that they're losing XP in lanes, they're losing farm in lanes, and they're putting themselves further behind. So right now, this jungle gap might not look that huge. Yes, EHUG does have the 1 kill and the 1 assist, and Volibear is 0-2. But the problem is, if you look at the other lanes, it's going to be a bigger XP difference between these laners. And you see right now, it's affecting the top laner a lot, actually. 600 gold down. A lot of that was from the first blood, to be fair, but I definitely think Aurelia, with that TP down to bot lane, didn't really result in anything. Hurt her a lot more in the XP department as well. Right.
Yes, that's an interesting point you mentioned. You know, with the nature of the jungle matchup right now and how well Vi is doing ETHUG, it's making it hard for Volibear to jungle. And I've never really seen, you know, or maybe noticed the ability that you can have to bully somebody out of their own jungle like that, and then you need to call for help. Sorry, we have a fight here going on in top lane.
Engage here. Stun going to be put out, but not going to land. So, ooh, the stun will actually land, but I really am not going to go for it. And I mean, the problem is, right, is if you go for that engage, you have the anti-heal on Graves, so you can't heal up even if you go for the dive. But, ooh, nice gank here. Stun going to land onto the Graves. FaZe going to have to flash out of this one, use the ultimate to get back, but ult going to come down anyway. Vi going to be here to help out, though. FaZe going to be able to live. Ult's going to come out. Stun going to land as well. Still an ult here available for the Aurelia. Going to have to be back in the turret. Oh, it's going to land. And Nia going to claim that kill. So really well played. Knew exactly where the range of that turret was. And that another kill over for this jungler. Volibear going to have to run. Has the double buff to heal up a little bit. But Zephrot looking for him. Does have the ultimate available for the slow. Going to go for the E. Going to go for another one. That's going to be another kill. But somehow Graves get executed. FaZe. It's just a quick reset, right? It's just a faster reset. That's all it really was.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was a little unexpected, I would say. But I mean, what a great turnaround! Amazing for ETHUG to jump in when he did, and then that ult, the way, you know, target selection, pulling back at the right times, you know, drawing them into the tower fire. That top lane skirmish really went in their favor.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, I think it could have been won there by the Aurelia and the Volibear. I think Volibear, instead of going for the ultimate onto the player, should have gone for more in the middle between the turret and the Graves. He could have disabled the turret, and that's when he could have got that last auto attack in before Vi came. So there was a chance there for him to actually get ahead, but unfortunately, just wasn't able to pick up that kill and puts himself further behind now at 0-3. Just a really masterclass. Again, EHUG exceeding our expectations, always does so well. And I really looking forward into playoffs, right? You can't afford to give him this Vi pick because every game that he's had, he's been so impactful and has looked so good and just outclassed every other jungler in the league on it.
Yeah, super consistent, and Vi brings so much utility, a ton of great matchups. Just a really, really strong pick right now, and ETHUG is showing us why.
It's going to be a gank here in top lane. Yubi going to join the Vi up here, and that's going to be a quick kill. FaZe going to take out Bossini here, and I mean, we see this Yuumi roaming, and that's the power of the Yuumi, right? Is that once the jungler gets ahead, Yuumi hops on the jungler, just does a quick gank, and especially the difference here too is the fact that she has Predator boots, right? So you can actually have really quick ganks come out, so you can go for a gank, help out your jungler for a few camps, and then go for a reset and go back to your ADC. And we see right now, yes, Ezreal isn't light years ahead of the Xayah, but that's not a big deal because right now, top lane already gone, and its jungle gap is just expanding ever more, and it's so much more impactful to have this Yuumi on the Vi than the Ezreal right now.
Yeah, this is the story we were talking about. You know, what can ETHUG's impact be on this game? And we're seeing a massive difference here. I was actually worried about that first drag going down. I know, you know, people usually don't worry about that thing, but I was like, you know, what's going to happen? You know, there's no contest happening here, but they traded for Rift, took the first turret. You know, the gold lead is just, we're at like 5K now. It's just, you know, it's not looking so great for Purdue.
Oh, he's so dead.
Super dead.
Yeah, going to pick up another kill. It's going to engage the bot. Nice dodge there by Barlow. Ult's going to come through. Nice flash to come through as well. Exhaust going to come down. Xayah forced to ult, actually. So Barlow outplaying the bot lane in the 2v1, but that's going to be a 3v1 now. Barlow trying to stay alive, but not going to be able to do it very much longer. Ignite going to come down. That's going to be a kill over, but it costs them so much because they lost top turret in that engage. So in the end, it's a 1-for-1 across the board, but top turret going over to St. Clair. And I mean, right now, Graves already has boots, and the shield bow is just light years ahead of this top laner.
Yeah, these you know, we were talking about team fights, but and Volibear gets caught out again.
Yeah, again, going for this aggressive engage. No, you can't hop over those trees, sir. Unfortunately, that is going to be another death here for Maniac, and Ehug just showing his jungle prowess. And I think junglers with Yuumi are so effective because they get the extra movement speed and they get the extra heals, so you can go for these 1v1 fights early on. And we see now at 5:02, with that Yumu's built, it is just going to be so hard for anyone on the side of Purdue to walk into their jungle.
Honestly, this is some of the worst jungle bullying I think I've ever seen. It's just you
it's been going on all season.
You can't play the game. I mean, I don't know if it's. Look at this.
Oh
this is
man,
crazy.
What do you even do? You press the Q button, and that's going to be it. That's going to be Gage here on top lane though. Zephrod trying to walk back into his ground, going to get a lot of damage down there. Irelia going to survive for the moment. Actually, going to pop the pots. Will barely live there. So just getting out there by very 1 HP, and that's going to be Xayah leaving on accident. So yeah, a little bit of ping issues there. But I mean, looking at this game overall, St. Clair up 6k gold right now, 602 Vi. Like, there's just so many ways that St. Clair is ahead. And what do you do if you're Purdue to try and come back in this game?
I honestly think that they need to try to stop the bleeding at this point. I feel like there's just a lot of picks happening that don't need to be happening. I feel like we can already see the item advantages are kind of pulling up. You know, look at Graves' item set. He's, you know, he has all this damage. He's a Mortal Shield Boy. He has his boots. You know, like what the only thing you can do now is just wait till late game, try to scale up, because we talked about how the Saints strategy is early game focus, so draw it out, you know? Stop the bleeding, draw it out. Try to play as safe as you can and not give them those free picks.
The problem is, though, right, is this Vi is on a Yumu's, and you're Corki, yes, you finally committed to Shibo, or you're this Irelia. You don't really have a good way to stop this Yuumi Vi from putting on you and just assassinating you, taking you out instantly. And yes, now we see the Eclipse also built for the Xayah, so they have a lot of safety from assassinations. But meanwhile, Yug trying to hunt, see if he can find anybody, gonna put a little poke down, but it's just so hard for anyone to try and escape this Vi Yuumi, and you don't even want to think about how far ahead this Graves is. If he's involved in a gank, you can't stay under your turret because you're just going to be dead.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
look at the goal discrepancy.
Just when Vi was posturing with the volley and Corki there, it's like the level advantage. It's just a terrifying situation to be in. You don't want to get queued on by Vi at this point. She'll melt you. They will all melt you at this point. So yeah, I mean, maybe you can wait till late game and try to roam together. I mean, I'm not really sure what you can do. It's looking pretty grim, but you know, never say never.
The one thing you do have to remember, though, it is a 6k gold lead. Meanwhile, there's going to be a fight in mid. No, are going to be popped here by Xayah, so she'll be able to escape. But I was going to say, the one thing you look here is, we look at the gold graph, right? And it's 3k in top between the Graves and Irelia, and there's 3k between the Vi and the Volibear. So elsewhere across the map, it's actually pretty even. So the one thing is, if you're able to shut down this Vi, you're able to shut down this Graves. Graves does not want to be shut down, though. That's going to be an ult. Put down onto this Corki. We'll have the shield bow available. Flash can come through. Oh, he's going to get the shutdown on Ehug, though. That's a massive shutdown for the Corki. So that is a glimmer of hope. And I was saying, if you can get that Vi shut down, if you can get this Grave shut down, that is where most of the gold discrepancy is. And that's where you're going to try and come back in this game, because that's really the difference maker so far in this game.
Yeah, unfortunate with that death there on the side of Ethug. That was completely, I feel like, avoidable. Dove a little bit too deep, went a little too hard for a city, and couldn't make it out of the turret range. So, but I mean, does it matter? I feel like it may not.
I think the problem there was more communication than anything, right? Because FaZe put a lot of initial damage down onto him, but I don't think he realized that Vi was going to go for the turret dive. And I mean, maybe it could have even been the fact that he had shield bow, so Vi thought he was going to take it was just going to be a one shot, but it ended up being, you know, not only the shutdown on Ehug, but also the flash invested for the Graves. And Dragon going to be started up here, going to try and be bursted down. St. Clair know exactly what's going on here. This could be very dangerous. They will get the Dragon, and they will force him out here, so they will back up. Package is available for Corki, though, so if they go for this engage, this could be very, very dangerous. Corki does so much damage. That's going to be an ult, though, for Zephrod onto the jungler there. Maniac going down yet again. Another death for this Volibear. But in the end, they do get the dragon. It is only going to be a mountain soul, though, so it's not going to be anything too crazy. Engage going to come through here, but they will be able to back off. All going to come down, going to catch the Corky with it, too, and that will be Fresh picking up a kill onto Laplace. So 7 stacks now on this Dark Seal for the Yuumi. And, I mean, it's just Yuumi gaming, right?
So insane. That little skirmish there where, you know, Ethog waited in the bush, the rest of the team comes up, he has the support of you. Like, it's just, what do you do at that point? I mean, it's the story that never ends. Vi started strong, and it's just persisting. Like, we're going into mid game now, and it doesn't look like things are getting any better for the side of Purdue.
Yeah, Ehug is just so far ahead on this Vi right now. There's no one that can really contest him if he goes for those ganks. Very, very successful for all of these ganks so far, all of these roams. And you have a Yuumi just to back you up, just in case, you know, you end up getting burst down by this Corky. You have a lot of healing coming out. You have the root available as well. So it's just so hard to play against someone that has a heal bot on top of them, right? Because you only really get one chance, and that one chance was the fact that you shut them down at bot lane. You get the gold onto the Corky, and he's your win con. But you saw there, Corky can't really do anything when Vi just presses R on you, and you have the Yuumi on top of it, because you're going to get rooted up, and you're going to die regardless.
Yeah, incredibly strong combo, and it seems like you know, the Saints focus on the top lane, top jungle. It's the second rift. They got the second rift. Don't seem to care so much about the dragons, but I feel like that doesn't matter so much. I mean, look at the map control.
That's going to be Corky flying all the way home. The ace going to be taken down from the skies, and that's another kill over. And it's so hard, right? Because yes, there was a flash invested. Yes, there was an ult invested. But you have so much speed on this Vi, and she can roam around the jungle, and all you need, one ward spotted him out. That's going to be actually an engage here in the top lane, though. Stun going to come through. 3 people up here. Ult's going to come down very early, and that's going to be Zephyr being taken out here. A lot invested. Oh, maybe going to get the kill. No, shutdown going to come through for Boshini. So nice try there by the Cassio, but unfortunately she does go down. So another shutdown over to Purdue, and it gives them a chance. All going to be vested very early for Teemo here in the bot lane. Teemo 4109. The Xayah, but ends up being just another failed gank in the mid lane.
Right. I mean, that Cassio up in the top lane. Oh, we have another little fight here in the mid lane. Ult coming out from Yuumi.
Root gonna come down as well, but they don't really have a ton of damage right now, so I don't think they can actually. Oh, never mind. Fresh's Q is gonna take out that Rakan. And just as I said, they didn't have enough damage. It is enough. That's gonna be Exhaust coming down onto the Irelia here. Vi gonna come for the engage as well. They're gonna take down this turret, maybe go for a chase here in just a second, but. Like I was saying, I was not expecting that Rakan to die there, but the last thing I was expecting was him to go down to a Yuumi Q.
I mean, you talked about this.
Ridiculous.
You said, you know, look at this build, the build that Yuumi has, right? It's related to these stacks and how much that single Q can do. And I mean, Rakan is behind too. So like, what do you expect? Like, this is what's gonna happen. He had a sliver of life left, and he just got sniped basically. Watch your dome.
You have an extra 50 AP with this Dark Seal, and if this Yuumi decides to upgrade to Medjai's, if Fresh decides he wants to go for it all, he's gonna have so much extra poke. It is just gonna be so hard for them to win any fights, and the healing is going to be so much more effective. I just don't see a good way for Purdue to come back in here. The only way they can really do it is try and get this shut down on the top lane here. But no, that's going to be Yaddy saying goodbye to the Rift for the next 30 seconds. And I mean, right now, St. Clair complete control of the jungle, walking all over Purdue, and they just really can't do anything to stop it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it doesn't seem like the map is an even playing field right now. You know, the Saints are kind of stomping all over. You have Cassio hard pushing top lane, almost with impunity, with no fear for her life, just dying and then running back up there to push some more, because you can rest easy knowing that your Vi is flying through walls, one-shotting their team.
Yeah, Dragon is going to come up here in just 40 seconds. St. Clair probably going to claim this. I don't expect Purdue to try and fight it. I really don't think they can afford to do that right now. They have bought themselves a bit of time before Soul by getting those 2 dragons. So we know it's going to be at least another 50 minutes before St. Clair can even threaten Soul Point. But Ult's going to come out here, not going to hit Xayah. But it's going to be quite a while before they can actually get Soul Point. So I think for Purdue,
she's going for it.
An engage. This is crazy. Stun going to come through. Charm going to come through as well. And that's going to be Fresh being taken down, and that is a huge mistake there.
Why? From
Fresh and Ehug, just a little bit too big for their britches there. And I mean, you had the stun from Volibear, you had the ult from Rakan. Not only is that bad because, again, another shutdown goes over to the Skorky, but Fresh also loses half of those stacks on the Dark Seal. So I definitely think a mistake there, a little bit overzealous from the side of St. Clair. They will get this dragon, though. Won't be a contest most likely. Oh, maybe it will be. There's no jungler available for another 5 seconds, so this could definitely be a contest here. But no, they're going to claim it. They're going to back off. Again, they do have a pretty solid gold lead right now. But it is these small windows of hope that they're giving to the side of Purdue to try and take this game later on when we look forward in that late game.
If you want to talk about windows of hope, talk about what that Vi just did. I mean, I think they maybe saw the Rakan and thought he has less than 10% health. Let's jump on him. But to go through a tower and into 3 enemy champs all with CC, like what do you think is going to happen there? And then to give them 2 free kills like that, I don't think that's a winning strategy. It doesn't really line up with the way they've been playing. So
no,
I'd like to see them maybe kind of reel back. It's almost a pretentious play, I would say. You're so far ahead, you just kind of want to flex.
Trying to ego on him, but this is going to be an ult here in the top lane invested. Yeah, that's going to be a relay being taken down here in just a second. Maniac trying to do whatever he can, but he can't really do that much. Corki actually come through as well, but not going to hit Euk here. Ult going to come down as well. He's going to be taken down. Yuumi trying to do some damage, but he's going to take it down as well. So again, Vi Yuumi combination not hitting nearly as hard as it once was, and now this is when you have to start to be careful, because if you keep giving up deaths like this, you're going to end up losing this game, because FaZe with the 600 gold shutdown, if they're able to take that one off, they're going to be down to like a 6k gold deficit, and later on in this game goes, the more powerful the side of Purdue is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to me that we talk so much about early game, late game, and how these things kind of go, but even though the Saints have been dominating all this time, look at this. Like the last 4 kills have been in favor of Purdue. Like the gap, it's gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller as the game drags on. You can't afford to be careless at this stage in the game. I mean, this is when it's all gonna come to a head. Right,
and the problem is too is you look at the gold graphs, right? Really, obviously, 12k on this Graves is massive. But the difference between these mid laners right now is actually about a K in the favor of Purdue. Corki got all the shutdowns onto the Vi and onto the Yuumi, so a lot of gold invested on this Corki in late game. He's going to be doing a lot of damage, and the fact that he already is at that 10k mark is huge for Purdue, because that's really going to be a difference maker here. But St. Clair actually going to get this Baron uncontested.
I'm surprised. Everybody seemed to be in close range. I'm not sure if that was a vision issue or just not wanting to fight in that team fight because of the difference in gold that you were mentioning. But
I definitely think it's a vision issue, because if you look here at the top, there's a control ward in the top tri-bush. There's a control ward in the dragon pit. There's a control ward in the underneath the red buff there. So you don't really have any ward coverage to even try and get close to that pit. So if you get ulted there by the Vi, if you get comboed, you probably are just going to be taken down. Even the Cassio is doing so much damage now that the Riftmaker and the Embrace has been picked up. So I think, again, it is a vision issue, but I definitely would have liked to see some kind of fight there, because Corki right now is on par with the rest of St. Clair in terms of gold. So he's really, if you can protect him with your Rakan, he can do so much damage in these fights. You can see he's already at 2 items trying to pick up that 3rd item for the Essence Reaver very soon, and once he gets that 3rd item, his poke is gonna really start hurting. And there's not a front line here for St. Clair to really defend against.
Right. I see Vi here coming around the top, maybe looking for something cheeky, but I do believe that Purdue's chance may just lie with his Corki, like you said, rallying around Corki's damage late game and hoping to steal some more kills, through maybe some of the Saints' missteps like we've seen.
Yeah, the one problem that is going to crop up here for Purdue is this Graves. This Graves at 12k, at 3 items already built here, only 24 minutes in. Irelia still sitting on that 1 item, just the Bork built. So in the side lanes, he's going to put so much pressure on this Irelia, and unless you send at least 1 or 2 other people to go help him out, there's not really a chance for them to actually stop this. So it's going to be a lot of poke put down here in mid, but no, they're not going to go for the engagement. No Vi is here. So we'll force the Corki W out. They're trying to assault this turret here. Graves, meanwhile, in the bot lane is doing so much damage. That's going to be turret going down, and turret I expect to go down here in bot lane sometime very soon. And it seems like this Baron is just forcing Purdue to collapse all around. Their whole base collapse around them. They don't really know what to do to defend against. And it's all 3 outer turrets down here. And inhibitors going down on top lane and bot lane sometime soon. And they will collapse on this mid. And there needs to be a fight here sometime soon, and that's going to be it. The engagement will come down onto Barlow. We'll actually catch him here, but he's going to E out for a second. All going to come through 4 members. That's going to be a double kill for Ezreal. That's going to be the game. That quick end to any hope that Purdue had, and that's going to be a quick ace. And the end of game number 1, and just when it looked like there was a little bit of hope for Purdue, St. Clair instant team fight, instant turn, and they end up winning the game just like that.
Drop the hammer. They, you know, all those little micro interactions notwithstanding, you know, maybe those missteps by the Vi that one time, they had complete control in terms of macro. Like, they were taking turrets. You know, Graves was basically just power farming the whole game. You saw him in bot lane just chunking a turret by himself. You can't really contest that damage. You can't walk up to him. So I think it was inevitable. You know, the noose was slowly clamping around your neck, you know, so it's tough.
Because you're at that point, yes, you are getting shutdowns on the Corki. You're getting a little bit of gold back for yourself, but the gap is still, you know, like it never went below 10K after 10 minutes. Like it was down to 8K, down to 7K, back up to 10K, down to 7K, back up to 10K. And it seemed like every time there was a punch thrown by the side of Purdue, St. Clair just gave them something back. They took turrets, they took objectives, they took jungle camps, and it just kind of bled them out. And there's nothing really they could do to stop it. So they tried, but unfortunately, just a really, really good early game by St. Clair. And I definitely think Yuumi is going to be banned in the next one.
Hope so. Yeah, I hope to see that. Yuumi Gaming, League of Yuumi is what we see.
League of Yuumi. But yeah, that's going to be it. So we're going to take a quick break here. St. Clair are going to take the first game of the best of 3 series and trying to secure their spot up there in top 2 and claim themselves a higher seed. And looks like Purdue needs 2 games to try and take their playoff spot. So we'll be back in just a second with some more Saints Gaming action.